a lorry driver with a local authority.
Well, my thanks as well as Gloria's to you, Stan Stannett, for springing that so beautifully for us and keeping on the air all the way from the studios.
It's been quite a day, I can tell you. Oh, dear.
Quite a day, Gloria. You were born in Portadown in Northern Ireland, and you thought that somebody very special in your life was back there today, but of course he's not. He's here, the man you married 21 years ago, BBC television producer Don Keating. And with him, your three co-productions, your children, 20-year-old Karen, 18-year-old Paul, and 12-year-old Michael. Well, now bits are beginning to drop into place in your brain. Karen, this isn't the first time, of course, that you three have surprised your mum on television. Didn't you all once arrive at the close of her live Belfast program with a birthday cake?
Well, that's right. On one of Mum's birthdays, we all went along to the studio, and as a surprise, we came on at the end of the television program, and Michael had to carry on this massive birthday cake, which you could hardly even hold.
Yes, and by the time we got the cake into Mum, all the candles had melted and the wax was all over the cake.
I think your face was practically in it, wasn't it?
And just to top the bill, I accidentally walked around the front of the set, so none of the cameras could get a shot of Mum, and all I could see is my backside down the camera.
Believe me, that was an improvement on my face.
Gloria, your career as a BBC Radio 2 broadcaster began when you were a temporary holiday replacement for one of Britain's best-known radio personalities, although he cannot be here in person, would like a brief word.
Hello, Eamon. Hello, Gloria.
Jimmy.
Well, I didn't make it under my own, This Is Your Life, but at least I got under yours, so that's a start. I'd just like to say, well done. Warmest congratulations. Have a really smashing evening. Really enjoy yourself.
Thank you, Jimmy Young. Gloria, you also, of course, took over Jimmy's spot of banter with that man who certainly kissed the Blarney Stone.
But of course, you didn't just kiss the Blarney Stone, grievous bodily Hunniford. You bit lumps out of it.
No blankety-blank checkbook for knowing that's no less than Terry Wogan. That must have been quite a change, Terry, swapping Jimmy Young for Gloria.
Well, I don't know. You know, Jimmy's quite pretty in his own right. I think probably Gloria's frocks are just marginally more glamorous.
I wear better long johns than Jimmy Young does.
Yes.
Don't I, Terence?
And slightly more revealing as well.
True.
Yes.
True.
And you're marginally younger.
Only marginally.
About 40 years.
You're looking well, if I may say so.
Well, it's the clean living, you know, and a fish diet. I've just come back from the Caribbean, Eamon, where it rained on me every day.
Sir, you're right.
Well, you know what they say about the luck of the Irish, anyway.
She's taken over your show already.
She is indeed, and it's good having you
The
here.
same way she took over Jimmy Young's and mine as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Terry Wogan.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Now, it's been quite a year for you, Gloria, and bearing in mind that singing was your first love, the high point of this year must surely have been the Royal Variety Show before the Queen Mother at Drury Lane.
Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Anything you can be, I can be greater. Sooner or later, I'm greater than you.
Oh, no, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Oh, well, now I can shoot a partridge with a single cartridge.
I can get a sparrow with a bow and arrow. I can live on bread and cheese.
And only on that?
Yes, salt and a rat.
And if you keep looking at that screen, Gloria, it seems a good friend of yours who has to be on stage in Panto in Bognor Regis tonight has become rather fond of that cowboy costume, because here she is, still wearing it. Yes, that's life, and of course, Esther Ransom.
Well, howdy, Eamon, and howdy, Gloria. And I blame Gloria for every single thing I'm wearing at this moment, because if it wasn't for you, Miss Hunniford, we wouldn't have got ourselves onto the stage of the Royal Variety Show in this rig out, because you are a real singer, and that's not fair. Jan and I can hum along. And putting this costume back on reminds me, which I'm sure you will remember very clearly, of the appalling fear of that moment as we stood with our backs to the audience, knowing the cameras were there and the Queen Mother was there, and knowing that we couldn't run, and just praying that an avalanche would happen or an earthquake, and it didn't. Instead, the opening bars, and we had to turn around and go through with it. And I think we just got away with it, just. Chiefly thanks to you. It's a pleasure to work with you, and I wish you a very happy day.
Thank you, Esther Ransom.
Can I tell you something, Eamon, about that?
Tell me when I pause for a news flash. The third member of that talented trio, newscaster Jan Leamy.
Well, actually, I'll tell you something. Jan's timing is fabulous, because what I was going to tell you was, now turn your back, okay? This is us at the Royal Variety Performance, right? Before the thing, we're terrified. And Norman Maine had taught us, the choreographer incidentally, had taught us to count. He said, now 1, 2, move, move, move. But we couldn't do it until he got to that point. So on the night, Queen Mum's sitting up in the box. Norman has to stand backstage, and he has to go on the night. 1, 2, 3, move. That was it. That's not true.
That was okay on the night itself. What about rehearsal, Jan?
Well, as Esther's just said, without Gloria, we'd never have got there, because Gloria is the only trained singer. Neither of us can read a note. She kept us on the line. And she's saying that Norman did the counting. He did, but honestly, if you hadn't turned at the right time, I'd still be standing there. That was good fun. It was great fun. And it was lovely because Gloria had to bring young Michael along one Saturday when we were rehearsing. It was so difficult to get us all together. And what do you do to a good-looking young man you've never met before? What do you say? So I thought, well, Michael, what do you think of the song? Do you like it? He said, well, I've got to. He said she never stops singing it.
Thank you, Jan Leamy. Gloria Hunniford, this is your life, and you were born on April 10th, 1940 at 94 Armagh Road, Portadown, County Armagh, christened Mary Hunniford Gloria Hunniford. Now, sadly, your father, a newspaper advertising manager, died 2 years ago, but here from her home in Portadown is your mother, May, and with her, your sister, Lena, and your brother, Charles, with Lena's husband, Rupert, and Charles' wife, Libby. May, Gloria and Lena share the same birthday because by a rare coincidence they were both born on April the 10th, but Gloria 7 years after Lena.
Yes, Eamon, that's right. But after Gloria was born, Lena thought she would swank a bit, you see, and go out and tell her friends that she'd got a new baby sister for a birthday present. But one of them just shrugged her shoulders and said, I don't want a baby sister for a birthday. All I want's a puppy.
Well, now, school is first, Gloria, at Church Street Primary, then at Portadown College, and there one day in 1952, the school holds a fun competition to find the girl who can keep talking the longest without a pause.
And Gloria, there are no prizes for guessing the winner.
She was there that day 30 years ago from her home in Lisburn, Anne Ingram. And the winner was?
Who else but Gloria? She won the competition by about 90 minutes and 20,000 words. Do you remember?
I've been trying to catch up ever since. I've been trying to beat Wogan at it ever since.
But the thing is, every one of them made sense. That was the thing.
Well, that was all right then. They don't make sense anymore, Anne.
Well, no, he was going to say that. You just stopped Wogan in time.
But
now, talking wasn't her only talent.
No. By that time, she was really a very good singer. And when we were about 9, we joined a children's group, a singing group.
They were called the Tiny Tots.
They were.
It's like a morning spring, in the rhythm of Irish laughter, you can hear the winds sing.
Back together again for the first time in 30 years, the Tiny Tots, June Matchett, Ken Hamilton, Jim Smart, Annette McGarry, David McLaughlin, Jim Wright, Fred Richardson, Joe and Beverly Hines, and with them the man who started the group, your good friend, Greer Walker. And thank you, Anne Ingram. Now, Gloria, when you were a pupil at Portadown College, that singing of yours didn't go unnoticed. Certainly not by the head girl.
Gloria, I'll never forget you singing Christmas carols in the school hall.
Yes, the head girl of that school went on to become an international star herself as pentathlon gold medal winner in the Olympic Games, your good friend, Mary Peters. Well, you clearly remember Gloria singing as a schoolgirl.
Yes, she was much younger than me, Eamon, but, but I do remember her well. She was a beautiful singer, and the headmaster used to always have her on at the end of term concerts.
Red feathers and a hooly skirt, which went down a treat at grammar school, I can tell you.
Thank you, Mary Peters.
Mary, thank you very much.
Age 15, Gloria, you take a secretarial course and then a job with an insurance company. And the following year, your late uncle James came over from Canada for a visit, and enchanted by stories of life out there, you tried to persuade your parents to let you go there for a year. And 17-year-old Gloria is delighted when they agree. In fact, Gloria, you made your first ever television appearance in Kingston, Ontario. Was it tough getting on television there?
Well, to tell you the truth, Eamon, if you could sing When Irish Eyes Are Smiling in tune, you were on, because at that point, with so many people, obviously with Irish connections,
but
that's all you had to do.
It led to you presenting a radio request show for 3 months, and that experience must have fueled your ambitions in broadcasting, because when you return home, aged only 18, you get a job with the newly opened Ulster Television, not on air, but as a secretary, then as a production assistant, when you met, of course, a cameraman called Don. And that led to 3 years courtship, and you were married on April the 28th, 1961, and you leave Ulster Television to become a housewife and a mother. Dawn, is Gloria, in fact, good about the house?
Now, very good, but then little doubts. One night I came home and she was preparing a beautiful meal. She'd spent all day there. The table was laid, wine, candles, and she walks in and is presenting the meal, and she trips. And the meal goes all the way across the room, hits the wall, and ends up on the floor. By the way, Gloria, what was that meal?
I'll tell you something. I scraped it up and I made you eat it. I know what it was. It was Cornish pasties.
Well, I'm sure there was a lot of shopping went into that, because as a young wife on weekly shopping trips with the children, you were always joined by another young mum.
And Gloria, I'll never forget the marvellous lunches we always had.
Close friends since you became neighbours 19 years ago with her daughter Christine, Anne Thompson. Anne, you said marvellous lunches, but you used to hide them in your posh prams, didn't you?
Yes, we did. We didn't really want the neighbours to know that they were fish and chips.
Oh, don't tell them all about it.
Thank you, Anne and Christine Thompson.
Oh, my
Christine was the little baby who used to steal some of those chips. Well, now, Gloria, it was, rather than salt and vinegar, it was sugar and spice when this picture of you and 3-year-old Karen was taken, because you had just won a mother and child contest at Butlin's holiday camp at Mosney outside Dublin in 1965. You've got the trophy still, Karen. Look at it. And a pretty picture they were and are. Now, the following year, you decide to take a more serious interest in singing and go so far as to pay to have your first LP produced. Now, it may not have been a big seller, but it brings you engagements in nightclubs in Ireland, another record, a single this time, and the job of becoming a radio interviewer yourself on matters both light and serious. Now, Gloria Hunniford is rapidly becoming a household name. In 1978, you moved back to Ulster Television, this time in front of the cameras as one of the presenters of its nightly news magazine programs. Now, again, you're a success, but things don't always go right.
Whenever they send you out filming down here, they don't tell you you're going to get put off by the tie.
Okay, now, Gloria. Steady, girl. Steady now. Only want a wee drop in the... Oh. Did you get enough there?
You lift that box up there and play him.
Turn round and let's have a look.
And Matt Powell, having such a ripping time with you there, is here again tonight. Your co-presenter of Good Evening Ulster, Jerry Kelly. Trousers intact. Gloria, when you worked behind the cameras as an 18-year-old production assistant on a variety show, making one of his first ever solo performances was an international star in the making, who 20 years later invited you out front with him on his smash hit television show From London.
Who could talk to a moonbeam and old one or two, and there on the fence sits a girl who's convinced that the world is all blue. This little boy is an Indian brave,
and he's got a map that will lead to a cave filled up with treasure.
This little girl makes a new funny.
And for you, he's here in person, Val Donegan. Well, of course, Val, you met Gloria a number of times since that first meeting in '58.
Yes, I did. I appeared on her show, Good Evening Ulster, many, many times over the years. And honestly, she was so good at it. Apart from the milking the cows and the split trousers. But truthfully, I said to so many people over the years that it was a shame that she didn't spread her wings a bit and let a few more people see her, you know. And then I appeared at the Opera House in Belfast not so long back, and she came to see the show and came around afterwards, and she did talk about the possibility of making the move and coming here. So she shouldn't have had any qualms at all. We're all delighted you came. Nice to see you.
Thank you, Val Donegan. Well, next comes that memorable appearance on the Royal Variety Show where you met stars, many of whom had only been names to you before that. And right now we're going to Hollywood so you can meet one of them again. He plays Clayton Farlow in Dallas, but more important from your point of view, he's international singing star Howard Keel.
Hello, Eamon. You know, that's a very talented young lady you've got there tonight. You know, Gloria, when I came over for the Royal Variety Show, and I was asked to go on your program, I was a little bit worried of what to expect, because another character in broadcasting called you the grievous bodily honey bun, and it kind of looked like I was in for a tough time. But I soon realized that first part of your name is a joke, but the honey bun part, that's for real, because that's what you are. You're a real honey. It'd be nice if you come over to here and spread some of that sweet Irish charm on JR. It would make life a lot more pleasant for all of us on Dallas. Goodbye for now.
Thank you, Howard Keel in Hollywood. Gloria, now, as I've said, singing is probably your first love. And before we end, I'd like to take you along the road where you took your first steps towards success. You took them along Armagh Road, Portadown, to number 3, this house, and into this front room, where standing by this piano, you had your first singing lessons from a teacher who later accompanied you on piano in your early stage appearances. It's 30 years since you gave you that first singing lesson. We've flown her, of course, from Belfast to be here tonight. Margaret Abigail Sheridan. Miss Sheridan, you must be proud of your pupil today.
I certainly am, Eamon. She deserves her success, and she's worked very hard for it.
Thank you, Margaret Sheridan. Thank you. Gloria, as we close, I want to take you back to 1957, when as a girl of 17, you went to live and work in Canada. Now, lonely though it was at times out there, I know you remember with nostalgic affection, not least, a Canadian family and their student son who made you feel very much at home. So much so that when your children were old enough to travel, you took them with Don on a sentimental journey to Toronto.
And Gloria, I've made a sentimental journey to see you tonight.
Yes, the former student who befriended you in Canada 26 years ago, Henry Kinnertick. Gloria Hunniford, this is your life.